He's so stupid. He's so stupid, he can't even say anything clever. He's a moron.
Usually shrouded in mystery as he maintains a relatively private life, Robert De Niro has been that Hollywood star that everyone has been dying to get more peep into what goes on in his personal life. Over the years in Hollywood, he has managed to maintain a stellar career, making him one of the most known faces in the industry. Consequently, he hasn't been exactly able to shield himself from public scrutiny and has had his tumultuous love life highly publicized. Within this love story, he has faced ups and downs, including a court case which shocked everyone. Also, you would be surprised at the emerging details from his most recent relationship with Tiffany Chen. Stay with us as we explore these in detail. But first, let's get to understand where it all started for Robert. Acclaimed as one of the finest actors in movie history, Robert De Niro was born on August 17, 1943, in New York City. His childhood was bound to be influenced by the exemplary cultural and artistic environment that his parents were part of. His father, De Niro Sr., was an abstract expressionist painter, and his mother, Admiral, was a poet and painter. The two had met while attending an art class, living the bohemian lifestyle associated with New York's vibrant art world. But when De Niro was only 2 years old, his parents separated due to his father coming out as gay. He was brought up by his mother in Little Italy, amidst a milieu full of artists, which fostered his appreciation for creativity early on. Born into an artistic family, De Niro's early years had everything but lacked in academic brilliance. He would turn shy and introverted with people, often earning him the nickname Bobby Milk because his skin was pale and he was quiet. Not surprisingly, though, he did find an early love for performing. At age 10, he scored his first job as the Cowardly Lion in a children's version of The Wizard of Oz. The experience fired up his interest in acting, making him want to continue on with it. His mother encouraged those interests, enrolling him in acting studios at the Dramatic Workshop and then at the prestigious Stella Adler Conservatory, where he learned to master the subtleties of method acting. De Niro's seriousness about acting made him a pupil of Stella Adler, a renowned acting tutor and one of the most respected exponents of method acting, an intense and immersive kind of acting. He also studied at Lee Strasberg's Actors Studio. This training immersed him in method acting, which would be an art form most influential to his career. De Niro will later be known for his incredible dedication to fully realizing his characters in whatever capacity necessary, even if that meant physically transforming himself or immersing into the lifestyles of his character. He began his career with several small roles in various off-Broadway plays, along with young and inexperienced actors. The beginnings were small, though De Niro was highly dedicated to them. This brought him to the attention of the then-young director Brian De Palma. In 1968, he appeared in Greetings, a counterculture film that showed raw talent by De Niro and how he was always ready to play risky roles that were unconventional as well. This not only marked his first collaboration with De Palma, but De Palma also recommended him to other directors, further launching De Niro's career. The first role that showed some potential was in The Wedding Party, which he worked on in 1963, though it was released in 1969. De Niro's true breakout in terms of Hollywood stardom came in 1973 with his breakout performance as the volatile young Johnny Boy in Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets. This was to be the beginning of De Niro's iconic partnership with Scorsese, who would go on to become one of his closest collaborators. In Mean Streets, he literally incinerated the screen with his performance of a reckless gambler, with an intensity and realism seldom seen, impressing the audience and the critics alike. It cemented him as a formidable talent and a household name that no one could afford to ignore, and the big studios in Hollywood took notice. De Niro's star really rose when he took on the role of Vito Corleone in Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather Part II. He was called on to portray the character's younger self and rose to the challenge with extensive studies of Brando's mannerisms and way of speaking. Not only was De Niro's performance a technical triumph, but also an homage to the method actor's determination. He spent 4 months learning the dialect of the Sicilians and also went to Sicily to get into the culture of the place. He won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, furthering his reputation as a method actor and placing him in Hollywood. It also began his reputation as an actor who could get so totally submerged in his character that he was no longer recognizable as an actor. Following The Godfather Part 2, De Niro did further work on a number of other classics with Scorsese, including the 1976 film Taxi Driver, for which he impersonated the disturbed Vietnam War veteran Travis Bickle. De Niro's performance in Taxi Driver reached the status of legend. The role expressed alienation and anger which his character possessed and became identifiable to society, and set him as an actor willing to go into the dark areas of society. During the late 1970s and early 1980s, De Niro continued to be versatile in his roles. Many consider this to have been one of his best performances, where he played a boxer by Jake LaMotta in the 1980 release Raging Bull. He radically transformed himself to look like a middle-aged man for the older version of LaMotta. He received an Academy Award for Best Actor for this. He was highly commended for his great depth and commitment. De Niro then proceeded to make a slew of blockbusters, including The Deer Hunter, The King of Comedy, and Goodfellas. Each showed another layer of his career as an actor, proving he could hold his ground as a dramatic, comic, and action-oriented star. The work that he did with Scorsese became a legend, each project weaving their common vision and ability to bring characters to life. By the 1990s, De Niro was a true Hollywood legend, expanding his range with comedies like Analyze This in 1999 and Meet the Parents in 2000. The fact that he never seemed to mind openly embracing comedy while still carrying weighty dramatic roles granted him status as one of the most versatile actors of his generation. He went on to continue exploring a range of genres and balanced box office successes with smaller, character-driven films. De Niro went on to produce and direct movies through his production company, Tribeca Productions, and soon after that, the film festival, Tribeca Film Festival, was born in 2002. He continued to expand his reach into the industry by allowing independent filmmakers an avenue to showcase their talents. Robert De Niro is a man who tries to keep the private nuances of his life just as personal and doesn't expose them often in public view. But despite all attempts by him to have a private life, his love life always seems to be something much more significant. He had been involved with a number of high-profile relationships and had quite a torrid love life in the limelight. His love life has been plagued by numerous marriages, stormy relationships, and the occasional public altercation. Perhaps one of the most defining features of De Niro's personal life is the commitment to privacy. He has always shown reluctance to give any details with regard to his family or private matters, preferring that his work speaks for itself. De Niro gives very few interviews, and even discussions about his life outside of acting are few and far between, making him one of Hollywood's more elusive figures. No matter how hard the media pushed him to cough up specific information regarding those aspects of his life, he always opted not to share such things with the public. However, his romantic relationships, many of which involved fellow celebrities, have sometimes landed him on the front page. De Niro's first marriage was to actress and singer Diane Abbott in 1976. The two met on set while filming Taxi Driver, in which Abbott had a minor role. Soon enough, they became a couple, and eventually, De Niro adopted her daughter Drena from a previous relationship. They also have a son, Raphael, named after the famous Italian Renaissance artist. At this time, De Niro's career was taking flight, and Abbott went with him to various film premieres and award shows. However, it is said that in the early 1980s, the couple's marriage started to crack under the pressure of De Niro's thriving career and hectic schedule, with reportedly numerous extramarital affairs. The couple divorced in 1988 after 11 years of married life. Indeed, their separation was not beyond speculation, as rumors went across that the cause was mainly De Niro's lifestyle and alleged affairs outside of marriage. Even while the divorce was on, De Niro remained close with his children, and he and Abbott remained on pretty good terms for co-parenting. Indeed, the divorce left him single again, this time at the height of his career, but it did nothing to dispel his reputation as a private, elusive star because he refused to discuss the separation with the media. After his divorce, De Niro went on to have a string of high-profile relationships with women from the entertainment industry. Probably one of the most publicized relationships he ever had was with model Toukie Smith. The two started dating in the late 1980s and stayed together for several years. Smith was a noted beauty of eccentric nature with charisma to match and a staple of the New York social scene. The two rapidly became one of the most high-profile couples. They had twin sons, Julian and Aaron, born from a surrogate mother through vitro fertilization in 1995. Though they never married, De Niro and Smith were highly publicized as a couple. The two frequently walked the red carpet together at various high-profile events. Pressures coming from De Niro's career and demands from their respective lifestyles soon took their toll, and the couple finally broke up in the mid-1990s. By this time, De Niro was also making a name for himself as a private personality who seemed to enjoy committed relationships, yet couldn't tolerate the stresses that came with them. His next significant love, with Grace Hightower, would prove stable, yet tumultuous. De Niro met Hightower, a former flight attendant and actress, in the late 1980s, but didn't begin to date her until the mid-1990s. They had a very low-key wedding in 1997. Their romance saw brief breakups and getting back together with highly publicized fights. In 1998, 1 year after their marriage, Hightower delivered their first child, a son, Elliot. But by 1999, the cracks began to show in their marriage, and De Niro filed for divorce. The separation went sour, with the two fighting for the custody of their son. Eventually, despite the bitterness of the separation, the two reunited and called off the divorce. In 2011, De Niro and Hightower added their second child, a daughter, Helen Grace. The married couple continued compromising in their marriage, but in 2018, after a couple of decades together, they separated again. The very public and messy litigation case over finances in court soon followed the separation. She wanted half of De Niro's fortune, claiming he had promised her this in the form of their prenup. The case opened a lot about their lives and spending habits, which never came open in De Niro's life and became a media frenzy. Aside from his two marriages, De Niro has been linked to various other high-profile women, which are similarly out of view. For much of the 1990s, he was briefly linked with actress Uma Thurman, although that relationship has never been officially confirmed. Other rumored associations with women in the entertainment industry are, as a rule, not so widely publicized since De Niro has kept secrecy about his personal life. This tension between avoiding the limelight and the automatic scrutiny invited by high-profile romances has been the hallmark of De Niro's life. His resolve to keep his family life out of the public eye runs very often counter to public fascination with his relationships. Despite trying, the ups and downs of his love life have time after time become tabloid headlines, exposing a part of himself that he would rather keep hidden. Later on in life, the struggles within De Niro's personal life include some legal issues with Hightower. All of the financial issues that arose and have been highly publicized often cloud over his profession. With all of these sad events that take place in his life, De Niro never lets those falls keep him down. Rather, he keeps moving forward. His service to the cinema world helped him retain a prestigious stature long after the seed of acting had been sown, even as his personal life was dragged in by the people for scrutiny. The romantic life of Robert De Niro took interesting and sometimes stormy turns, including sprinkles of very unexpected public controversies. Maybe one of the most salient revelations in De Niro's personal life has come in the form of a court case with singer and songwriter Helena Springs. De Niro and Springs met in the 1970s, a decade in which De Niro's career as an actor was taking off. Springs, who had worked as a backup singer for Bob Dylan among others, had her own entry into the entertainment world as a budding artist. Their paths crossed through the relatively small entertainment circles of New York. Their love affair, brief though it was, nevertheless led to a very important court case years afterward. In 2001, Springs filed a paternity suit, naming De Niro as the father of her daughter, who had been born in 1983. Such an accusation was a surprise to both the public and De Niro himself at that time, since there was little indication of any lasting connection between the two beyond their initial meeting. Springs claimed that De Niro had always known of the child, but had never fulfilled any responsibilities as a father. She sought child support and other fiscal compensations, claiming it was his silence that had made her daughter live differentially than others. De Niro responded to the lawsuit with an act of denial. He said he was not the father of Springs' child and contested her claims. The whole case received heavy publicity, with the media running after each and every detail in court. As much as public scrutiny was nothing new to De Niro, the nature of the allegations that Springs levied touched into his personal life. At long last, after months of litigation, the court ruled in favor of De Niro. DNA tests later proved De Niro was not the father of Springs' daughter. The case was thus dismissed, amid Springs' claim that he had taken up fatherly roles. It still proved to be one of the most embarrassing moments in his personal life, nevertheless. Years later, De Niro was back in the public's attention with his personal life when he took up a relationship with Tiffany Chen, a martial arts instructor and actress. According to reports, the two met on the sets of the 2015 movie The Intern, where Chen was playing a Tai Chi instructor who worked with De Niro's character. They started to date sometime afterward, and Chen became a very influential figure in De Niro's life as he embraced the challenges of aging and his ongoing career. They shared companionship and respect for each other, and Chen reportedly brought tranquility and stability into De Niro's world. In 2023, at 79 years old, De Niro shook the celebrity world when he announced the birth of his seventh child, Gia Virginia Chen De Niro, whom he welcomed with Chen. News spread across the world since nobody could expect such a surprise from him at such an advanced age. However, De Niro just proved that age is just a number. His daughter with Chen brought a fresh sense of purpose and joy to De Niro's life, he says, pointing out that family still remains an important part of his life. Though the birth of Gia fired up a debate over late-life fatherhood, De Niro has approached the role with commitment and tenderness. In one interview, he even said it is quite a rewarding experience to get another chance to be a father. Chen reportedly brought stability to her daughter through her expertise in martial arts and her practical nature. The relationship had demanded respect for its silent strength, pitted against the more stormy aspects of De Niro's earlier love life. Despite this media glare regarding his fatherhood at an advanced age, De Niro has kept on going with making privacy a priority, raising Gia quietly and out of the media glare. His relationship with Chen and their growing family reflect a far more centering time in De Niro's life, one that balances the iconic career with his personal one. Robert De Niro's journey of love, from highly publicized relationships and scandals to the stability he has found with Tiffany Chen, is underlined by the complexities a life in the limelight places on a person. From the unexpected court case with Helena Springs to the joy of fatherhood later in life with Chen, it's all mere facets. Although he has faced many setbacks in his life, De Niro remains committed to family as part of his legacy, inspiring many others. That will be it for today, and do let us know what you think about this latest development from De Niro in the comments.